There was a time when a big day for a black quarterback would have been noteworthy. In fact, there was a time when simply having a black quarterback would have been noteworthy, and frankly, it wasn't all that long ago. Now, the Big Ten did have black players when many schools in the South prohibited them. In fact, the first black All-American quarterback was a Big Ten signal caller, Sandy Stevens, great quarterback at Minnesota who led the Gophers to a Rose Bowl. In the 1970s, Michigan and Ohio State both had black quarterbacks, Dennis Franklin and Cornelius Green. Those two battled one another, and they also battled overt racism.
My freshman year, I was averaging 50 to 100 letters a week from Klan groups and bad organizations. Got death threats over the phone. So it was really tough. I just wanted to go to school and do a good job of playing ball and getting a good education. So, but it was life-changing, and it was just amazing. After my first game, we played Minnesota. We win 56-7, and it just all stopped.
Our TIAA most iconic people, some of the most transcendent black quarterbacks in the history of the current Big Ten schools, including Tommy Frazier, former Heisman runner-up, led Nebraska to 2 national titles in the mid-'90s. Frazier, one of the best option quarterbacks of all time, leading Tom Osborne's unstoppable attack. Antoine Randall, incredible dual threat, rushed for 44 TDs in his Indiana career, threw for 42, nearly 7,500 career passing yards. Big Ten MVP, finished 6th in the Heisman balloting. He was moved to wide receiver in the NFL. Troy Smith at Ohio State, the last Heisman winner in the Big Ten, won the award overwhelmingly in 2006, completed better than 65% of his passes, 30 TDs, just 6 picks. Also ran for 11 scores, a 5th-round pick in the NFL, went on to become the first black starting QB for the 49ers. And then the Buckeyes' J.T. Barrett, the Big Ten's career total offense leader, accounted for 147 touchdowns in his brilliant Ohio State career. That is 40 more than anyone else in the history of the league. 3-time Big Ten quarterback of the year, undrafted in the NFL. He has never thrown a regular season pass in the league. Well, Josh, last year in the NFL, the Rookie of the Year, the MVP, the Super Bowl MVP were all African-American quarterbacks. Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes. And yet, I think some of these stereotypes still persist. To what extent have you seen the perception change around black quarterbacks?
Yeah, I think it's changed a lot. We've made a lot of advancements, like you said. You look at one of the best quarterbacks in our league, the best quarterback in our league, and maybe one of the best in America, Justin Fields. The offense is centered around him, and you're seeing a lot of offenses now that are being built around black quarterbacks. But to your point, there are still stereotypes that exist. Lamar Jackson won a Heisman Trophy in college. He was asked to work out at wide receiver in the NFL Combine. He said no, plays quarterback in the NFL, won an MVP. When you go to the NFL Combine, you'll listen to some of the analysts talk about quarterbacks who are cerebral players. They're very smart players on the field. The black quarterback, they'll say, is an instinctive player. Any creature has instinct. It's not anything that takes a lot of brain power. It's a natural reaction. When you hear them talk about the white quarterbacks, they'll talk about intelligence. They'll talk about how they study. And so as far as we've come, I still think we can go a little bit further in how we talk about and the language we use when we refer to black quarterbacks versus white quarterbacks.
Joshua, that's really a very interesting perspective. Obviously, my perspective is more historic, how we got to this point. I can remember when most offenses were either power offenses or option offenses. And obviously, the option offenses were the one that had the great black quarterbacks. And that's when I was coaching. As I got into media and the spread came about, we found the spread offense that really could fit to either quarterback, whether he was a run-first or a pass-first quarterback. And now we've seen, and you've described some of the quarterbacks that we're watching play now. How it sounds like to me that we've made some progress, but even now the spread pass-first black quarterback still is dealing with some of the things that Joshua brought up.
Yeah, I think both of you guys make outstanding points. And I think one of the other things you talk about in offense, how offenses have developed. I think one of the things that when you go back and you look at it, so often the black quarterback was asked to fit into a skill set that may not have suited him to be the best player that he could be. Now, all of a sudden, you're starting to see offenses that incorporate more of the quick throws, that incorporate his ability to really break down offenses and defense and also use his legs. And that's not to say that other quarterbacks can't do that. But I think now what you're seeing, and Lamar Jackson is a perfect example. He was drafted by the right organization and allowed to flourish, understand what the offense is, and the offense is tailored to his skill set. And that's what we're really starting to see. And I think that's one of the main reasons we're starting to see so much success from the black quarterback, the fact that they are now being able to play inside of a system that is tailored to their skill set. And I think you have to take your hat off to general managers, to head coaches, at both levels, college and pro, that you're getting the best players. Now that you have the best players, what are you going to do to put them in the most successful position to go out and have success on Saturdays and also Sundays?
Yeah, I think the other thing we can't underestimate is with the social justice movement, these are people that are in leadership positions on their team, and yet oftentimes they're asked to speak about social justice and how much pressure that puts on a quarterback, especially the black quarterback.
Oh, it's a topic that literally could take up the entire show, guys, but a really interesting conversation, but fascinating to see how it has evolved and fascinating to see how far we still have to go.